r/AskReddit by Commentify. With all of the negative headlines dominating the news these days, it can be difficult to spot signs of progress. What makes you optimistic about the future?
The plummeting price of solar and wind energy. Edit. Thanks for the gold. I will be investing it in solar.
Holy duck. This post was made 7 minutes ago and already has 300 comments. But anyway, every day we get closer and closer to a cure for cancer. My mom told me about her diagnosis on Sunday. Both of her parents died of cancer too, 12 years apart. Hopefully in the near future. It's something we won't have to worry about.
It's because Oppa's Bill Gates. Best of luck to your mom.
Aw, didn't even see that. And thank you. It's looking hopeful. They've caught it very early.
That's good to hear. Wishing her all the best. Closing parenthesis. Early diagnosis is one of the best scenarios when it comes to cancer in most cases.
Since 1990, the number of children who die before their 5th birthday has been cut in half, saving 122 million young lives. In the same period, the fraction of people living in extreme poverty has gone from 1/3 to 1/10. More than 90% of children now attend primary school worldwide. Women now make up more than 1/5 of members of parliaments around the world. Workplace and road safety in the U.S. has risen dramatically since our grandparents' time. Edit. I stole these from this article entitled, Bill Gates. Here are 5 reasons to be optimistic about 2018. This has probably been my finest moment this year.
You just gave Bill Gates an answer from Bill Gates.
It's an amazing world we live in, isn't it?
The possible return of the American chestnut tree. Fast-growing, rot-resistant and, perhaps most important, it produces enough calories from the nuts to feed a population. Edit. It turned out that someone from WBUR in Boston saw the interest in this post and wrote an article and made a podcast about it. It's very good. That old chestnut.
The death of the American chestnut is also partially responsible for the severity with which the Great Depression struck Appalachia. Chestnuts were a primary food supply for backup reserves in the form of herds of pigs that were allowed free roam. The pigs could be sold or slaughtered to keep families afloat during hard times. The disappearance of the chestnuts killed the viability of the pig herds, causing the economic failsafe to collapse ecologically at the same time that the Great Depression made monetary reserves worthless.
This sounds like a dissertation.
All 7 of my honeybee colonies are currently surviving the winter. And today they're bringing in the first pollen of the year. Edit. Also, please support native bees for why and how at home. Check out Bringing Nature Home by Douglas Tallamy, as well as * butterflies like the monarch, and bats.
Yay! Go bees!
Advancements in medicine and gene therapy. The CRISPR technology has me very excited. Also, the James Webb Space Telescope is going to bring about many new discoveries.
It feels like we haven't had a huge discovery recently. Hopefully we get something big within a decade or so. Edit. As people have pointed out, we have made some significant discoveries recently.
IDK Man. Evidence of the Higgs boson and the gravitational wave detection from LIGO were both pretty big news.
While true, those discoveries don't result in any changes to the everyday lives of your average person. Things like CRISPR have that potential.
The fact that despite the news the world has never been safer or healthier than this, and it will likely continue like this.
This reminds me of the misleading statistic that more and more people are dying of cancer every year. Only cause they're not dying of other stuff like minor illnesses, violence, etc. Life expectancy and general health will shoot up tremendously if we can find a more reliable cure for cancer.
This'll sound really cold, but a doctor friend once pointed out to me that the rise of cancer deaths in the 20th century was an indicator of the great progress we've made in treating infectious diseases through antibiotics, vaccination and sanitation. People get cancer because they now live long enough to get it. If you look at the causes of death in the early 20th century here, scroll to the end of the document. It's always pneumonia, influenza and tuberculosis as the top killers.
I'm reminded of Sam's speech to Frodo in Osgiliath in The Two Towers. It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo. The ones that really mattered. Full of darkness and danger they were. And sometimes you didn't want to know the end. Because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing. This shadow, even darkness must pass. A new day will come. And when the sun shines, it will shine out the clearer. Those were the stories that stayed with you. That meant something. Even if you were too small to understand why. Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't. Because they were holding on to something. That there's some good in this world. Mr. Frodo. And it's worth fighting for. Quote.
Advancements in health studies and science for health has improved living conditions tenfold and continue to do so. So that makes me pretty optimistic.
No one lives forever. No one. But with advances in modern science and my high-level income, it's not crazy to think I can live to be 245. Maybe 300. ETA. This is a quote from Talladega Nights. I'm not being serious. Closing parenthesis.
They say the first human who will live to 150 has already been born. I believe I am that human. Edit. Holy shit. I just realized Bill Gates was the one who asked this question. Thanks, Bill, for all the karma.
Ann Perkins, right finger, right finger.
Always appreciate PNR references.
Mental illness awareness is growing rapidly. And people are more and more willing to assist those in need.
Not only that, but people with mental illness are become less and less ashamed of said illnesses and actually seeking out help. Stigma goes both ways. Edit. Stop bringing up gun politics on my comment, you goddamned vultures.
God, I'll never forget the day I called off at work because my anxiety was flaring up hard. My bosses took it seriously. Sent me a nice email saying they understood it was serious and thanking me for how hard I was working. They've got my loyalty for life because they took it seriously.
I'm going to nursing school, and every time I hear about the advances in the medical field I get excited. Japan just approved a medicine that they claim can cure the flu in one day. The merging of medicine and technology is extremely fascinating. I saw a video of a prototype that was virtual scan of someone's body. Inside and out. You could remove organs and see what was under them. If that can catch on, it will dramatically help surgeons plan for more successful outcomes. Edit to add video of scanner https. YouTube. BGJUV64B49SK and link for flu drug http. ABC News. Go. Com. Health flu drug designed kill virus day approved Japan. Story. It equals 53,361,886.
I have a neuropace in my brain to help control seizures. Responsive neurostimulation. I'm on the first few steps of transhumanism, and I wake up every day realizing that this cutting-edge technology in my skull will one day be the pegleg of neurological procedures. Press forth, my friend.
I quit smoking today.
Congrats. I quit last month after smoking for 20 years. Couldn't be happier.
3 years quit as of last month. After about 30 years.
Congrats. Keep it up. You got this.
Shared collaborative projects like Wikipedia proving that people are inherently good.
Wikipedia, you're welcome, college students.
Just remember to use the sources given in the Wikipedia page. Not wiki itself as your reference.
All of my teachers would always yell at me and get upset if they saw Wikipedia open in the computer lab. Anyone can edit that. I don't even want you on there. Yeah, but they leave references for me to go to and do my own research was never a viable answer either. And always upset me to see such ignorance in educators.
The increasing easiness of traveling anywhere in the world. Edit. This is what I'm looking forward to. Also, nice optimism you got there, you Reddit bastards.
It's easier than ever before. In the history of the world. And it will continue to get easier.
And yet my commute still takes 90 minutes in Friday rush hour traffic. Self-driving cars can't come fast enough.
Space. So much is unknown right now. Excited to see what can come in the future.
Watched Falcon Heavy launch the other week and was amazed for the first time in a long time.
I literally screamed and cheered watching Falcon Heavy like I would at a football game. It was amazing to witness.
There's still people like you that donates like half of their money every year. Or whatever. Right facing fist bump.
Holy shit, I didn't realize Bill Gates was the op until I saw your comment.
Deleted.
The good news is often quiet and subtle. The bad news is always loud. I try to remember that.
Our headlines are splashed with crime, yet for every criminal there are 10. Oh, honest, decent, kindly men. If it were not so, no child would live to grow up. Business could not go on from day to day. Decency is not news, it is buried in the obituaries. But is a force stronger than crime.
People here are talking about cancer cure here. Stanford Medicine made the biggest breakthrough in history just last month. They cured 90 out of 90 infected mice with different kinds of cancers with just one shot of medicine. https. Med. Stanford. Edu. News. All News. 2018-01. Cancer vaccine eliminates tumors in mice. HTML.
Ah man, I got cancer. Can't come to work today. Boss. Quote.
PSHH, go get your shit and get in here.
Oh boy, imagine the price. $1 million per injection.
That every day millions of people go to work in order to provide for their families. Come home, talk about inane things, etc. The world over consists mostly of people with similar wants and similar needs, no matter from where they hail or what they look like. And the vast majority of the time it just works. One tiny lapse in coordination and it could all come crumbling down. But mostly the world marches on. It's a brilliant blue ball of common humanity. And it pays to remember sometimes that for all that's horrible in the world, we're surrounded by a lot of good.
Agreed. I just wish this were more reflected on a geopolitical scale. If nation-states spent more money on cooperation instead of invasion of each other, so much good could come from it.
SpaceX.
The Musk.
Elongated muskrat.
The launch of Falcon Heavy gave me goosebumps. I found it amazing that the landing of rocket boosters now feels routine every time I watch it.
My dog. Mainly.
Picture or no pup. Top ever comment on puppers. No regrets.
Photo or no toto.
Not op but all produce. She is a good girl. https. Imager. Com LW2HTDA. JPG. Edit. Such a warm reaction to her, so I'll share one more majestic as duck picture. https. Imager. Com L2ZA3JD. JPG.
Here's one of mine. He's a happy pupper.
I am optimistic that the younger generation is more progressive than my father's was.
This is what keeps me going from day to day. The older generation seems to be less progressive. But that hasn't stopped the younger generation from being even more so. I have a feeling that people like Elon Musk are going to inspire a new wave of wonderful young people to do great things.
I agree completely. I went to high school in the late 90s in the Deep South. Nobody in the climate of those schools would have dared to be open about their sexuality if it differed from the norm. In today's high schools, for the most part, nobody really cares how a person lives their lives.
Deleted.
People are beginning to realize that things don't change on their own. More people are taking action to help out and change the world as a whole.
Solar energy plus desalination plus gene therapy.
Using gene therapy to build a human that can drink salt water and use sunlight like a plant. Yes, I await the day as well.
Behold. Jim, that's just grass. Quote.
The fact that humanity is getting another mini space race going on. I'd love to see a man set foot on Mars in my lifetime. That, and of course just getting to spend time with all my friends to play Dungeons and Dragons every week. Edit. I am fine with my top comment being about D&D and space. Let's do D&D and space. Wah.
Reruns of Bob Ross and Mr. Rogers.
Got drunk one night and watched some Bob Ross on Netflix and it was a revelation. Man, it's impossible to feel bad when you're watching him paint. So much joy. I guess that's why they called it the joy of painting.
Happy little trees.
Time for a fusion show. Mr. Bobgers.
Understanding of history. We are at a certain point in time, during which we are well aware of what happened in the past. This is a newly available, highly useful feature of our generation. Hopefully it lasts censorship.
Check out the following YouTube channels. Crash Course World History. Extra credits. Historia Civilis. World War I channel. I love you back, not a channel, but I'm really feeling your comment.
Thanks to therapy and my sister's support, I've gone from being suicidal to being hopeful. I'm learning to overcome obstacles that once seemed insurmountable, and I can finally imagine myself living past the next few years. As long as you're still alive, there's still hope. Life can get better and I'm going to fix mine. Damn it.
Bee population is on the rise. If we could work together to save the bees, we can deal with climate change.
My students, they handle a complex, globally interconnected society in ways my generation, undergraduate at university in the 1970s, couldn't hold a candle to. Any color, any sexual orientation, any disability, any nationality, it's all good, so long as they're not an asshole. We may be approximating Drive. Martin Luther King's hope for a world where people are judged by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin.
I see the same thing in my students. I teach preschool, and today a little boy whose parents are from Somalia. A little boy who was born in Kyrgyzstan. A little boy from Peru. And a little girl whose parents are from Mexico built a castle together. They don't care what color you are or where you're from. They just like building together.
Marijuana legalization for the USA, which will reduce crime and nonviolent offenders in prison, as well as a host of other widespread positive effects.
Seriously, someone close to me lives in near constant pain. I am absolutely certain that marijuana would help her, but it's still illegal in my state. My hope and dream is that in 10 years weed would be legal in all 50 states.
Your work, giving away so much money, is truly commendable, and I thank you for it.
Oh shit, that was Bill Gates. No wonder it's #1 in 20 minutes.
Turns out the richest people on the world are also richest in karma too.
The better angels of our nature. And the fact a billionaire has a platform to communicate 1v1 with everyday people. Thank you, Reddit.
The growing acceptance of people who are different. It might be a long, slow battle, but we are moving in the right direction.
The fact that Bill Ducking Gates is taking the time to make an AskReddit thread.
My Girl Scout troop. They bring me hope that the future generation gives a shit. Closing parenthesis.
And they also give us Thin Mints and Samoas.
This is the most peaceful time in human history. And it is getting better.
RuneScape Mobile.
Much to the amazement of the trauma surgeons who first received me at the hospital after I'd been found on the side of the road with a face full glass after being on the receiving end of a hit and run. I'm not brain dead, brain damaged, quadriplegic, paraplegic, nor did they even have to make me an amputee. I'm learning to walk again. The future is looking good. Until I have to go through the TSA again. That is, winking face. Edit. Before. 3 months after. My new worst case scenario is I need to sell some of my new titanium parts for scrap metal.
Internet forums like Reddit, where a one-line question can pump out 1,000 nice answers ranging from global improvements to cat pictures in 30 minutes. Also, my children and how they already have it better than I did when I was young. Even though I didn't have that much problems back then either. Keep on rocking as a great man. Bill.
The constant technological advancement we're seeing right now, especially in fields like medicine.
The fact we still are allowed to have negative headlines.
This comment is very underrated. As long as the bad news are still news, it's all good.
Never really thought about it like that. Good point.
Whenever there's a grim news story, I always remember Mr. Rogers' mother's advice. I look for the helpers. It's a great reminder that people are inherently good and human ingenuity will get us where we need to go. Eventually.
I wish I could upvote Mr. Rogers' mother more.
I'm 3 months pregnant after the second round of IVF. The fact that my wife and I are going to have a baby together makes me ridiculously optimistic about our future.
That video of a crow and a kitten who are friends.
Medical science breakthroughs in Alzheimer's and dementia. Refocusing on space exploration. The future applications of automation and 3D printing. Our increasing ability to share more complex ideas over greater distances in shorter spans of time. ETA. Renewable energy.
Realizing that Bill Gates is the op. Meaning we can have personal conversations with people who used to be outside our reach. The world is getting smaller.
Ultrasound with the wife Thursday.
I just saw this article this morning. Electricity usage is completely flat. And in some areas utilities will sell less electricity than 10 years ago. That's on top of rapidly increasing renewable sources. https www.vox.com Energy and Environment 2018 halves 2717,052,488 Electricity demand utilities.
I am hopeful that Microsoft will one day bring Clippy back into Microsoft Word.
I kind of want a Clippy Pixar movie.
I was born with a very rare muscle illness and am rooting very hard for a cure on a genetic level. That is why I participate in any study that is thrown my way by doctors. Reading headlines on research going into human trials is very exciting and gives me great hope for the future.
I decided to go this route several months ago. I even log into Facebook a lot less. And I've never been more satisfied with my life.
Same here. The majority of news channels have their own agenda and push their side. And as someone struggling to keep their own life together, I feel like I'm just along for the ride. Watching the world unfold in front of me.
Israel is now a net exporter of fresh water due to desalination technology.
Holy shit.
Working with people directly, I noticed a lot of them are good, generous, honest and benevolent people. These people give me the drive I need to handle things. Because I know, we can shape a better future for the people, animals, and the planet. Also puppy gifts.
Knowledge of the past. Humanity has made more progress towards giving people longer and better quality of life globally in the last 150 years than has occurred in the rest of human history.
Commercialized space travel.
The growing research around social isolation. Writers and academics like Brené Brown and Sarah Schulman, and many more, talking about vulnerability and community. I think the more we find places to meet and speak in person, and the more we recognize the limitations of corporatized public spaces, like Facebook, Twitter, the more we can disrupt the polarized political discussions and work together and have tough conversations. And a quick plug here for my podcast Faith Deficit. It's me exploring questions of faith with guests from a variety of faith and non-faith backgrounds. I think we have to talk about all of these issues together, even if it's hard to do. Thanks for all of the incredible work you're doing around the world, Bill. It's inspiring people like me to do our tiny little things to try to help too. Closing parenthesis.
Several nations have pledged to move away from fossil fuels toward renewable alternatives.
My family.
The fact that people like you actually use their considerable wealth, and therefore power, to try and help the world rather than destroy it for further profit.
Dude, ducking everything. Over the last 200 years the world has gone from 90% living on $1 a day or less to 90% living on $1 a day or more. Year 2000 Singapore dollars. We haven't had a war between major powers in 70 years. High-speed internet and 4 grams cell service is available freaking everywhere. You can take a cruise around the world for only $2,500. There's an opiate that's 1,000 times more powerful than heroin and you can buy it on any street corner for $15. The world is completely wonderful right now. Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out October 23rd. Everyone needs to chill out.
One thing OS not like the others.
Yeah, the fact that RDR2 got delayed to October. Opening parenthesis.
People like you. People who don't hoard, but use all the success they've achieved to boost up others.
This thread was made by Bill Gates. This thread makes me optimistic.
Even with all the negative happening in the world, I'm always glad to see the number of people who still stay positive and try anything, to better themselves, to better their community, to better mankind, try to fight even though the odds are against them, even if it's just to let those who would hold us down or hold us back, that we will not stay quiet. We will not last down and take it. This is our world, all of us.
My students, I'm a HS teacher. They recognize that caring for others is a fundamental component of being part of a community. Our future is in good hands.
I'm really loving the amount of free, or highly affordable, online education available. Universities like Yale, Harvard and many more make full online courses available online for free, complete with notes, quizzes and complimentary readings. I remember I took a course where you could select a 360 view of the classroom setting. Then there's Udemy, Khan Academy, YouTube channels like Excelis Fun or Crash Course, even Vox, and about a million more sources that provide so much high quality, engaging content on every topic imaginable. For some reason it makes me feel hopeful about us all. Also, the fact that I'm kind of saying this to Bill Gates. Hi Bill.
We are living in the golden age of astronomy right now. And it's only gonna get better every year from here on out with the emergence of giant telescopes and new fields like exoplanetology.
The world didn't get